So it's testing some wind in DCS, especially with Moose Airboss script, to see if carriers could handle turning into the wind. Just to give you an idea, the wind's about 28 knots, and just to give you a picture of how much wind that is, if you could have a look at the crab angle on this approach to Kasab in the same mission, it started off at about 15 degrees. It's kind of lining up very much to the on the side of the HUD, and you get a feeling for how the wind decreases as you get lower. So you keep an eye on the altitude. You'll notice the crab angles coming in. I'm not actually doing anything here. It just slowly corrected itself. It must be some part of the flight model of the Hornet, but if you look at that, it just gradually comes to, you know, straight as I get low. I didn't actually do anything, but this is going to show you the effects of wind in the carrier pattern.
Got low contact.
And I've got 3 patterns, 2 wave offs and a landing, and we're starting from the Abeam. This one I was very wide, 1.6 miles. I don't know what I did on the brake. The wind when it's running down the deck is fine for when you're pointing exactly up and down, but as you're doing the crosswind turn and then the final base, you get awfully pushed off. So if you have a look at the HUD, you can see I've got it caged at the moment, and it's offsetting a lot to the right because I'm getting pushed. The wind's coming down the deck, so I'm getting pushed away from the carrier as I turn in, which kind of gives a wider feeling. And you'll notice there's a sort of, the sight line is incredibly messed up as you're turning left. I was thinking, you know, I'm close to starting the groove here, and the script is certainly thinking that, but I need to do that extra 15 seconds there. Sorry, 15 degrees to get the crab, and then it centers itself as you get online. So it's something to watch out for, and there's a lot of difficult things to control. So on this is a nice centered ball. It was a tad high, and I chopped the throttle slightly, bounced, just hit before the one wire there. So it bolted because my wheels touched way too early and I lost the angle on the stick. But I got a 2.5 for the approach. So on the second time Abeam, I was only 1 mile Abeam from Stennis, and this made you can see I can try and correct it later. My height was pretty much all over the place for these. I was trying to keep high a lot of the time because I felt this urge that it was going to mess up or sink me, or the wind's kind of frightening. I'm normally a fairly good pilot, but this makes it look like I'm a terrible pilot. This one's going to be a wave off. It looked okay, and then it just you get that feeling where you're just floating and you just cannot get it down on the deck. So hit the groove there. Correcting. That's the ball. You can sort of see the ball, but I'm not really into the groove till well past the ball here. So I had to recorrect, and I tried to aim long, but of course the wind being so strong is keeping me tight. The carrier's barely moving. It's doing about 4 knots, but I'm getting a good 30 something over the deck, and it just went. It just was just nothing. It just, sometimes it doesn't come down. You're not sure what you did. It can be just a small throttle movement. So on the final pattern,
pedal to contact.
this is like 3rd time lucky. So I was too close again. 1 mile. Again, the brake turn is kind of critical to setting you up. I think I'd set up on the final not the base recovery course, but the final bearing, and that I was kind of using that to watch my downwind part, and
You're high.
that kind of set me off wrong, all sorts of reasons. And I stayed high on this one. I was kind of conscious because I hate chopping the throttles, and sometimes you just end up in this sink and it really messes it up, like the
high.
last one. So coming to
You're
the
high.
groove,
You're high.
I'm still getting blown
Line
right there,
up. Hold ball.
and it's calling me right for lineup, but I am going right,
You're high.
and then bam, it flicks down the line of the wind, and you see how it centers up there. Played
high.
this high, but floated down. And you see I'm trying to
You're
watch
high.
the ball. So you can see from the head movements, really.
You're high.
It's a centered
Good
ball,
ball.
it's a centered, and then it starts to sag. I added power, and it corrected
Bingo. Bingo.
late, but it's just like kind of a wobble. You only get one chance to touch the throttles. And I got a
Welcome
1.8,
aboard.
probably because it was just horrible in the actual lineup. It was only the last part that corrected.
Bingo.
So wind's a real
Bingo.
pain, difficult to deal with. It really changes your pattern.